Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I'm the Reverend Julianne Lepp, and we are doing a Sunday morning meditation on the power of empathy. And I think right now, with everything going on in Ukraine and all the concerns in Texas for transgender children and families that are supporting them, there's so much in the world that needs our support and love, and as we fight for the dignity and worth of people and keep our thoughts with those who are going through so much, the power of empathy helps us connect to people as people instead of people as stereotypes. And so I invite you into this space right now of meditation. You can center yourself with a candle or a chalice. I like to use this homemade chalice. This was made by some of our youth. You can see a little, it's like a homemade chalice made out of flower pots. So that's kind of fun. And I invite you to light it now. It gives you a focus for spiritual practice. That is, if I can get the lighter to cooperate. There we go. You can set your candle where you can see it and where it'll provide a focus for you this morning. And I'm going to do some readings this morning from A Grateful Heart. This is one I've really enjoyed. It's Daily Blessings for Evening Meal from the Buddha to the Beatles. But it also just is little aphorisms. They don't have to be for a meal. And I find that gratefulness and gratitude help us connect with others as much as many things. So, gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. Amen. And so today we're talking about, in our meditation time, the power of empathy. And the Sunday service at 10 a.m. is on intersectionality, and thus recognizing the complex ways in which we are individuals. You know, I present as a white woman, I'm in my 40s and present a certain way, but I have more complex identities, as many of us do. And, for instance, I'm a Southerner, I have anxiety, I'm bisexual, all these things, and yet I'm married to a man for 22 years, and so you wouldn't necessarily know that about me or know that I have arthritis. And so all these things make up who we are. And I think to bless people not necessarily as they present, but to accept what people claim as their identities and to honor the complexity of who people are. So as we're extending our empathy this morning, we'll definitely do the Metta Sutta. I invite you into a time of quiet, even your breath, quiet your heart, relax your face, and sit in this moment with me. And before we start, I invite you to think about the waves as they go out. We think about a ripple of compassion, a ripple of empathy. And just like if you were dropping a rock into a pond, the ripple can go out and affect so many people as you're putting that intention into the world. So I invite you now to close your eyes, think about the ripple of compassion and the power of empathy. Taking a deep breath and releasing. Breathing in compassion. Releasing heaviness, hurt, those things that are weighing us down. Breathing in peace, letting go of what we need to let go. Give it to the ground, give it to the earth. Releasing all that we hold and that we don't need in our bodies. Invite you back into this present moment now. And as we enter the heart of compassion, we think about those in Ukraine who are scared and trying to see what is next for them and their families. Some are fighting for their country, some are sheltering in place. But we here often don't know what to do. And sometimes the heart of compassion is knowing that that is what we can do, is to show compassion, to wait, to not always act, but to wait for that time when we can extend a helping hand. Right now, that helping hand for our congregation is helping Afghan refugees. We're part of an effort, and we'll hear about that in our Sunday service at 10 a.m. And having the heart of compassion is also the heart of hospitality. And this is another book that I've been looking at. It's called Radical Hospitality. And hospitality is more than Martha Stewart or having a homely home. It's a way of welcoming those who might be the stranger. And I think we see this in really tough times, like what's happening now. Seeing the people greeting Ukrainians on the border and welcoming them in. Those that open their homes and their hearts and try and do what they can to extend that compassion and empathy as fellow humans. And this talks about the horror. I'm just going to do a short reading. The horror of September 11th, 2011 did not create bigotry against Muslims. It incited existing bigotry. It fed a silently held bigotry already alive in our hearts. It is easier to fear a whole group of people instead of giving one person a chance. That is so very true. It becomes easy to hate and turn away from people we have vilified. To live courageously means giving up the fear and giving people a chance. The home of the brave is a wonderful ideal, but it is no easy thing to become. Brave people take a risk with the stranger, offering hearts that they piece together from broken hearts, and we don't let ourselves off the hook. Fear is a thief that will steal our peace of mind, and that's a lot to lose. It hijacks relationship, and it sends us into a false sense of security. And we've seen in these recent years how fear is wielded as a weapon against those who live on the margins or those who think differently. And so as we enter empathy and the heart of compassion, I invite you to examine your fear. And what is it that you're afraid of? Sometimes we're afraid for a very good reason. And sometimes there's a fear, that has been present during the pandemic that may or may not be useful to us right now, or maybe it is. Maybe it's keeping us healthy, but maybe not. Maybe it's keeping us away from relationships or getting out of our house. So I invite you to offer that empathy first to yourself, and that compassion, that hospitality of knowing that your feelings are valid, but that it's okay to examine your feelings, that you are not your feelings. That is one of the most helpful pieces of advice that I've ever gotten. You are not your feelings, and that that can be separate from your identity. And so when we separate our fear or we separate our anger, we know that that might be temporary and that we can move through them and hopefully let those go. So now we extend that heart of compassion to our community, to those around us, that empathy. We extend it to people we know, and then that ripples out further into those we do not know. And finally, the hardest part is extending that heart of compassion to those we might consider enemies, if you use that word, or people that you don't necessarily care for. And that is the hardest, I know, for me. And as we have been seeing violence in this world and so many things that are hard, that heart of compassion does not come easily. But I invite you to practice it at whatever level is helpful, because just like anything, your compassion grows, and it can really change your life and the way you approach things. It helps your relationships with yourself and with others. So friends, I'm going to end our time together with a reading, and I hope you start this day with peace in your hearts. All life is one, and everything that lives is holy, plants, animals, and people. Let us resolve to be together as one. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find health relief. And I've kind of mixed two prayers there from John Bennett and a Zen chant, because I'm a Unitarian. I'm going to mix things. So I wish you peace and compassion this week, and I hope you'll join us at 10 a.m. for our talk on intersectionality. Our service will include Dr. David Jones and myself, and we'll be talking about that. Go in peace, and namaste.